What's up, dude? Today I'm gonna show you 3 straightforward recipes for making some really delicious garlic mashed potatoes. Now let's go! First things first, when it comes to the potatoes used for mash, you're gonna see most recipes, if not all, recommending Yukon Gold or russet potatoes, and that works out fine. Having said that, in a previous video, I did a side-by-side test with Yukon's russets and reds won. And it wasn't just my opinion, we had 2 blind taste testers agree as well. To sum it up, we found red potatoes gave us by far the best texture. They're a little bit denser, a little bit heavier, but really good. If you want to check out that full video in comparison, I'll link to it at the end of this one. We're gonna start by just peeling these up. Standard process. And for a potato this size, I'm just gonna quarter it. That'll give us nice sized chunks. And then you want to drop it straight into some cold water and change that water out a few times to remove any excess starch. The first method I'm going to show you today is by far the easiest, and it makes some really great garlic mash. Just start with your potatoes in water here, then chuck in some peeled garlic cloves. It really is that simple, and they will more or less cook at the exact same time. So in they go, and then I like to put quite a bit of salt in my water as I cook my potatoes. I want them to get most of their seasoning from this salt right now, so it ends up nice and rounded in the end. And that's it, just leave it on medium-high and bring it to a soft boil and let these cook until they're fork tender. Will take about 25-30 minutes depending on how big you slice your potato. And while your potatoes cook, you can warm up your dairy. I'm starting with whole milk. I'm gonna cut that with some heavy cream. Full recipes always in the description. And then of course some good old-fashioned butter. After 25 minutes, my potatoes are done. I'm just gonna go ahead and put them in a strainer and let them steam there for about 3 or 4 minutes. And you can see at this point in time, the garlic and the potato are both just perfectly fork tender. This is exactly what we want. Not overcooked, just nice and soft. And to make the greatest mash, you definitely need a ricer. It's just one tool that I can't live without. You will never get that beautiful smooth texture without one of these or a food mill. I'll put a link to this exact one in the description if anybody needs one. Put our potatoes and our garlic straight into this. Little thing goes on top, and we simply just push through, squeezing it out. I actually really like doing that. And just repeat that process with all your potatoes and garlic. It really is that simple. Rice away. All you need to do now is add your dairy, which is all hot and melted. And I love using just a rubber spatula here just to bring everything together. You'll have my recipe in the description, but how much dairy you add is up to you. The more you add, the looser it's gonna be. Some people like it different ways. At this point too, I'm gonna just taste it for salt. It's almost there because of the seasoning in the water, but it just needs a little bit more salt. Of course, you could add pepper or whatever else you want to this. And there it is. Just make sure you don't overwork this mixture because it can get gummy if you do that. And what we're left with here is this really smooth, creamy mashed potato with those amazing red potatoes. Next up, method number 2, which takes the longest but also results in some really great garlic mash. We're gonna start by roasting our garlic. And if you've never done this, it's extremely simple. You just take a whole bulb of garlic like this. We're gonna slice the top. And what we're trying to do is expose just those tips and squeeze it out after it's cooked. You just want to make sure each clove is a little bit exposed. I can trim it up a little if I need to, like this. I just find when a lot of people do this, they take off so much. And so I'm trying to just not waste much garlic. Something like that's absolutely fine. Now for the next step, you're commonly gonna see this wrapped in aluminum foil. I have some sneaking suspicion that aluminum foil is slowly poisoning me. I might just be absolutely crazy, but I try not to use it that much. The reason you do use aluminum foil is so you trap some of that steam and the garlic doesn't burn. However, if all we're trying to do is trap some steam, I see no reason why you can't just use a little pot like this or some parchment paper just wrapped really nicely. But I'm gonna try this method. I'm pretty sure it's going to work. I don't see the need for foil here. Then all you need to do is hit them with a little bit of olive oil. You could use any oil really. That's gonna help it cook evenly, give it some good flavor and browning as well. And you don't have to do this, but I like putting a little salt right on top. I'm just gonna pop a lid on it and stick it in a 375-degree Fahrenheit oven for about 40 minutes, but I'll give you the exact time when it comes out. Bon voyage. At this point, my garlic has been roasting in the oven for exactly 1 hour. It took a little bit longer than normal using this pot method. Maybe that's why the foil sort of speeds it up. Although it's only 20 more minutes, not a big deal. And as you can see, the garlic is super soft and tender right now with a little bit of browning going on. This is really nice. If you want to take it further, you definitely could. You could even put it in without the lid for a minute and just get some browning on it. Although I'm happy with this, I'm just gonna leave it nice and soft. And after letting my garlic cool down for a few minutes, all I need to do is squeeze it like this. It all comes rushing out. I'm sure a lot of you have done this. It's a pretty popular thing to do in the kitchen, commonly served with cheese, which is really good. You can use it for all kinds of stuff. You can do as much or as little as you like. I'm just gonna do a lot. We're making garlic mash. And I'm just gonna take a spatula here and just smash it down brown a bit. The roasted garlic is definitely the easiest for just smashing up like this. Confit garlic can tend to get a little skin on it, making it harder. And now I'm just gonna add in my mash. And this is the exact same process as the first mashed potato recipe minus the garlic in the water. It's just standard mashed potatoes, simple as that. And I'm also adding a little bit of the oil from our third and final mash recipe that's coming here in a second, because there's just a lot of flavor in that oil, and why not? Now all we need to do is give this a really good mix, and of course taste for seasoning, which I did, and it needs a little salt. That's it. Again, just mix and be careful not to overwork. We just want to get that garlic flavor evenly distributed. And that's all she wrote, my friend. Simple roasted garlic mash. For the third method, which is my preferred technique, we're gonna make confit garlic, which is a really quick and efficient way to make some great garlic mashed potatoes. There's a lot of pros to this method. I'll explain more as we go. All you need to do is add a bunch of peeled garlic cloves to a small pot and simply just cover it with oil. I'm using avocado oil. You could use whatever kind of oil you have around. It will be fine. And we want them just covered like this. And this is a technique that allows you to preserve garlic for a long period of time. So if you want to do a bunch, I suggest you do. Then just cook it on medium heat for about 3 or 4 minutes just to get some heat into that pot, at which point we'll turn it down all the way to low. Very, very, very low. When you see the oil bubbling away gently, just like this, you know you've got it right. All you need to do now is let it cook for 25 or 30 minutes, or until it's got this nice, beautiful golden brown look about it. You can also add some more aromatics and flavors later in the cooking process, which I tend to do. I'll show you that in a sec. Another way you can make confit garlic is by using the oven method. You would simply do the exact same thing, except put it in a covered baking vessel and bake it in a really low oven at 250 degrees Fahrenheit for about 2 hours. The con with that method is that obviously it takes a long time. The pro is that you'll get a really, really consistent color on your garlic. It will look better. So at this point, it's been about 30 minutes and my garlic is just cooked. I can feel as I'm poking through this little thermometer, it's going right through, nice and fork tender. If you find it doesn't have enough color for your liking at this point, you can always turn up the heat a little in the end just to bring a little more color into it. But just be really careful you don't burn it and pull out any of those unwanted sort of flavors. Also, in the last 5 minutes of cooking, I like to add in a little bit of fresh thyme. It's just gonna add some nice floral notes to this whole thing. And I like to do this last because if you do it right away, it tends to burn a little too much, I think. You could also put chili flakes, peppercorns, or whatever else you really like in here. And after just about 2 minutes at a higher temp, they're perfectly golden brown the way I want them. I'm just gonna tip them out of the pot now so they don't keep cooking. Now these are ready for the mash, but on a side note, for storage of garlic confit, you can keep it in the fridge for up to 2 weeks. And then if you freeze it, you can actually save it for up to 3 months. And I'll tell you what, you'll be really happy not to just have those beautiful creamy garlic cloves here, but the oil that's left over is just amazing for cooking and flavoring anything you can think of. You could even make mayonnaise with it or whatever you want to do. It's great stuff to have around. To finish the garlic confit mash, I'm just gonna add some of my garlic here to the bottom of a bowl. And then I'm just gonna take a little masher here and then just sort of break these up a little bit. The skin is gonna be a little bit harder. I'm just trying to release some more of that garlic flavor. And actually, I really don't mind getting some chunks of garlic in here. I just don't want whole garlic cloves. Now I'm just gonna add my mash, and we followed the exact same process as the first mashed potatoes, except we didn't do the garlic, obviously. These are just standard mashed potatoes. And then I'm just gonna work in my garlic like this. And then you have to add some of that oil that the garlic cooked in. That's gonna add so much flavor into these mash. You know, to be quite honest with you, my friends, I let my garlic go just a touch too long, which made it a little bit chewy. If you can pull them off slightly before that, that would be great. That's why the oven method is good. Although to each their own, some people prefer this flavor. And it's really as simple as that, my friends. Again, taste for salt, add a little if it needs it, a little more oil if you want it more garlicky, and that's all she wrote. Confit garlic mashed potatoes, super simple, and just look how creamy and delicious that is. Oh my God. Spoon flip, garlic in the water, roasted and confit garlic. Let's try the garlic in the water first. 3 ways, they all should be a little different. This really reminds me, it's one of the first kind of recipes I learned while making mashed potatoes in a restaurant, was them doing it like this. And I really like it. It's not this strong, punchy garlic flavor. It's there. It's not taking over. It just goes nicely with the potato. I like it a lot.
Hits you on the back end.
And here we go with the roasted.
Worse.
You think so? I wouldn't say it's worse.
I will. I like that one better than I like that one.
Considering that I put 2 whole bulbs of roasted garlic in there, it doesn't have like a really strong garlic flavor. I mean, it's there, but it's like, it kind of feels like almost a waste using all that roasted garlic in the mash when you can just do that. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're delicious, right? No one is gonna turn those away, but we're just calling it how we see it. And now, Here we go with the confit.
Okay.
Wow, that one's really different. This one's got a much richer garlic flavor because that garlic got a little brown, even slightly overcooked. But as it sat in the mash, it hydrated, it really released all of its flavor. So at first it was super hard, but now it's evenly distributed. This has more of that cooked garlic brown caramelized flavor.
Yeah, it's got a nuttier.
These are on other sides of the spectrum, right? And that one's kind of in the middle.
I'm gonna go ahead and say that if you clicked on this video for garlic mash, this is gonna be the thing that you're most excited for.
They're all good, they're all delicious. It's just, this is what we do. We gotta judge. Delicious though. You're gonna love it. You can have fun, have a good, great, see you later, whatever. Thanks for watching today, my friend. And if you are a fan of written recipes, definitely check out my Master in the Making ebook. Will be linked down in the description. And let me finish by saying, aren't potatoes just wonderful? The amount of things you can do with them, I don't think any other vegetable comes even close. So if you wanna keep learning today, here are 2 more potato forward videos that I know you're gonna love. Until next time, you know I love you and I'm out.